So in this video, I'll be discussing why Book Tyrion is a bad person and an idiot. So this is a sort of complimentary video to my previous one where explaining why Show Tyrion is a bad person and an idiot. So this video will obviously have some double-ups and stuff in common with the other video, but obviously it's going to be a lot more book-focused and talking about Tyrion's actions in the book, and obviously his character in the book is a bit different. But so we'll start in the same format. We'll start with why Tyrion is a bad person, and then we'll move on to why he's also a bit of an idiot as well. So let's get started. Why he's a bad person? Well, same thing as the last video. His story sort of opens, as well we know, with him raping a teenage girl while he's a teenager, at the behest of his father. And same thing as I said before in the other video, there's some slight extenuating circumstances here, and that he would likely have been punished by his dad for not doing it, but even so, he still raped someone, so that's pretty bad. Also, he partakes of prostitution in a medieval feudal system, which is basically rape in the sense that a lot of these girls wouldn't have many other options. Possibly in a similar way to sex trafficked girls today, where it's not technically 100% rape, but it's basically rape, so not great. And then of course we have him ordering. So there's a singer that he doesn't like because the singer's singing songs about him and Tysha. Sorry, not him and Shay. And so he has the singer murdered, chopped up, and put into soup. So yeah, that's a thing. Not a very moral thing from our big boy Tyrion. So yeah, so this guy, he has a song, the Hand's I can't remember what the song's called, but it's basically just about how the Hand has a woman, which is Shay, and because he was at Shay's manse one night, listening to her to sing for her, and yeah, Tyrion doesn't like this, so he talks to Bronn and he says to Bronn, "Yo, get rid of this guy, and put him in a bowl of brown," which is so basically like a soup or a stew. So Tyrion orders this man to be murdered and put into stew. So yeah, that's a pretty bad one. Then of course we have same thing as in the show. He murders Shay and his dad. But actually in the book it's a bit worse, because in the book there's no hint of self-defense aspect of it. Shay doesn't attack him or anything. He just barges in and murders Shay like an absolute prankster. So yeah, no redeeming quality there. He just murders her. And yeah, so that's not great. And then same thing, he walks in on his dad and kills his dad with some crossbow bolts. So yeah, not great. So yeah, we have these once again four some real bad acts from Tyrion. So yeah, a bad person. But now let's move on to, is he a stupid person or is he an idiot? And there's a little bit of nuance to this topic because he does do some smart things. One that I can think of off the top of my head is he quickly gets the Tyrells on side after the death of Renly, which is quick, intelligent thinking. But so yeah, he's not a total idiot, and he has his moments, but he is not a super smart guy. So once again, he's always drinking. He gets drunk a lot, and that leads him to making stupid decisions, like when he threatens to geld Joffrey in front of King Joffrey, significantly in front of the whole court, which almost gets some severe consequences for him. So obviously that's not super smart. He also believes that he is that Shay is actually in love with him, which is a lot more ridiculous in the book than it is in the show. Because in the show, Peter Dinklage is a pretty attractive dude. I mean, as far as dwarf goes, he's pretty much as hot as it gets. So it's not super unreasonable to think that someone would be attracted to him, right? In the book, though, he's basically as ugly as someone can get. He's malformed. He has some pretty nasty disfigurements, particularly. He's stunted, one leg shorter than the other. His eyes are mismatched. He's not a good looking boy. Not a good looking boy either, as well. So, so it's really ridiculous that he thinks Shay's in love with him, and then he gets so upset when he's like, "Oh, you weren't in love with me? What? Who could have seen this coming? This woman that I'm paying to have sex with me doesn't actually love me? What?" So yeah. And then we have basically the entirety of Clash of Kings. He thinks he's outfoxing everyone. He thinks he's super big brain. But it's basically all just Varys ex machina. Basically the entirety of Clash, it's just Varys telling him stuff and him acting on it. And so, for example, we have him getting rid of Janos Slynt and replacing him with somebody, Bywater? Replacing him with a new dude. And he's like, "Yes, I outfoxed Littlefinger, no longer Littlefinger's crony." It's like, yeah, but do you think that guy's not Varys' crony? Same thing with his scheme to get rid of Pycelle. It's like, yeah, you got rid of one of your sister's agent, cool, but what about Varys' agents that are everywhere? He just basically relies on Varys for everything, so Varys knows exactly what he's doing at all times, and so he never really has the upper hand in King's Landing. He has it sometimes over his sister, but never in general. So So yeah, for this entire thing of Clash of Kings, which is supposed to be him being a real big brain and being the hand of a king and being in charge, he's actually basically just using and being used by Varys to get all this stuff done. So not super smart stuff from Tyrion there. And then we have this. This is a little bit less of a big deal. But when Alistair Thorne comes down with a White's hand, he just ignores him. Just because he doesn't like him and doesn't listen to what he has to say, which turns out to have some pretty significant consequences. It's not the biggest deal because you can kind of understand why he would ignore him, because Alistair Thorne is a bit of a dick, and also might not be the most important to Tyrion, but yeah, he should have at least given him a listen. So that's basically the list of stuff that makes that I quickly thought of that made Tyrion an idiot. And I'm sure there's some other things as well. And then of course, we have him. So he's a bad person, and he's an idiot. Or not necessarily he is an idiot, but he does very unintelligent stuff a lot of the time. So just to comment on this a bit though, this is not as bad as in a show. In fact, this isn't really a bad thing at all. Characters can be idiots. I'm an idiot sometimes, right? But the difference here is that no one goes around saying Michael is the biggest brain guy ever. He's so smart. We should save him for his mind. He's so big brain, right? Because that would not be true. Okay. And same thing in the book. No one's like, oh my god, Tyrion's so smart, he's the most intelligent I've ever met, because it's not true, right? And so it's not a problem. He's sometimes intelligent, sometimes not, and that's how people think of him. And that's how the narrative presents him, right? And that's how we as the reader are supposed to understand him. And so there's no disconnect there, there's no cognitive dissonance. He's sometimes smart, sometimes an idiot. We think he's sometimes smart, we think he's sometimes an idiot. No problem at all. Same thing with him being a bad person. You can have lots of bad people, and there's lots of bad characters that are still good characters. Every villain, basically, is a bad person that is a good character, unless they're, like, every good villain is a bad person but a good character. So there's no problem there. And the story doesn't present him as some sort of moral arbiter or some super moral guy. He's just a bad dude in a world of bad people, and we're okay with that. And so I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that the book doesn't have a problem in the same way the show does, because the book presents him as what he is, and the other characters understand him as what he is. And so there's no dissonance there. Whereas in a show, we're supposed to believe he's a super moral, smart guy that keeps talking, and all the other characters think he's so moral and smart, but there's no reason for that. And the show tries to present him to us, with music and like shots and stuff, as a super moral dude looking down on all these immoral actions. And so the point I'm making here is that the book, Tyrion is a bad guy and an idiot, much like show Tyrion, right? But there's no problem there because the book presents him how he is and other characters understand him how he is. So yeah, I guess that's the point I'm trying to make there. But yeah, I hope these videos are demonstrated in both book and show. Tyrion is not only a bad person, but not a very intelligent person. But yeah, hopefully this video sort of gave you a better understanding of Tyrion's character and maybe a little bit less simplistic understanding. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.